Lashkritamurtishtasamārambhāṁ Shankarācārya-madhyamāṁ Asmadācārya-paryantāṁ Vande Guru-paramparam. Okay, so last time we saw verse 44 and 45, the obstacles to meditation. Any questions, clarifications on that?
Swamiji, I do have a couple of questions.
Shoot.
So when it comes to Vikshepa at the time of Nididhyasana, I mean, I'm thinking the reason someone might have the Vikshepa is because of probably inadequate sadhana chatushkaya. Would that be?
Yeah, that can also, because samadama is lacking. Yeah, can be.
Okay. And the second question, Swamiji, was the fact that Rasaswada, they are looking for it as an experience. Perhaps be indicative of incomplete knowledge or premature nididhyasana?
Yeah, your knowledge is not complete, you're still looking at it as an experience. Yeah, that is true.
Okay.
And mistaken belief that you know and you have to experience. This is a big block in people's mind. First you know, then you experience. First you know, then you experience. Then they'll start saying things like it's only intellectual knowledge. But all knowledge is intellectual. What do you expect? Emotional knowledge or what? Yeah. There's no emotional knowledge, there's knowledge of emotions. So any other questions or clarifications?
So if I can just think about knowledge and experience, I just want to slightly talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because it just so happened that in an exchange recently, somebody was mentioning in a different context that look, I as the subject, I am experiencing my emotions, thoughts, everything appearing to me.
Yeah.
I can be rest as the subject, and the reason I was finding that a little strange was because you can't come to the swarupa of the subject as an experience.
No.
Swamiji,
Once you know the truth, in Nididhyasana, you can drop everything else and just be in that knowledge. What they call as, if you want to call, Nirvikalpa state. You can be that as a thing. Like I met a student of Muji in Delhi. She was saying, I go to the Nirvikalpa state every morning and come out. I said, what makes you come out? No, because I have so many other things to do. I said, then you are supposed to be, if you are Nirvikalpa, you are Nirvikalpa in all of them. No, I am Nirvikalpa only when I am there. I am not her guru, so why should I explain? It's okay.
கிளாஸ்ல இருக்கேன் முடிச்சிட்டு கூப்பிட்டுவா
So that's where the thing is. Yeah, Anu, you have a question.
Swamiji, just to follow up from that. So, resting as yourself is just resting in the knowledge of your true self.
Correct.
Thank you.
You can say you rest in the knowledge of yourself. That you can say. Remain in the knowledge of yourself. All that is okay to say. You can even say I am resting in myself in the sense I am not engaging in anything. That much is also okay. That's what in Rishikesh will say, na? Maharaj ji kya kar raha ho? Arey mast raam baba hoke baitha hu.
Swamiji, in Nididhyasana, what is is the object of meditation?
Hmm?
In Nididhyasam, what will be the object of meditation?
Yourself. The knowledge. In Nididhyasanam, you bring the knowledge into your mind after you have quietened it.
Okay.
Completely quietened your mind, and then bring in the knowledge like Shuddham Brahma or limitlessness or whatever appeals to you at that time. You bring in that word. And with that word, the whole knowledge comes into your mind.
Okay.
So it has to be a word which will encompass the whole knowledge of what you are, without all the stories, the jokes and things like that. So just the essence. That is Nididhyasana.
So that essence is what you stay on, but you don't deliberate upon it.
Yeah, deliberate, of course deliberate, yeah.
That
It has to be,
deliberation
all
also
meditation is deliberate.
No, do you also think about it?
Yeah,
About
but think,
limitless
okay, it is
consciousness?
not more than thinking.
If you say
Okay.
that you are limitless
No,
consciousness.
let me put it
Yes.
like this. If I say your consciousness, you have to see the truth of that word. Consciousness. Yeah. Okay. So the thinking is very minimalistic, one or two thoughts, that's all. Just that much and find, limitless. Limitlessness. Unconditional, but time, space, yeah. Nothing apart. Yes. That's it. One or two thoughts. And then what? You are seeing the truth of that statement and you are remaining with that knowledge. The knowledge is there. Yeah. The thinking has dropped. Just the knowledge is there.
I had one more question.
Yeah.
So when you are in meditation, you are in that Sakshi
Yeah.
state.
Yeah.
And if you know that you are limitless consciousness and
Yeah.
you are being Sakshi to whatever is happening,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thoughts coming, going,
Yeah.
can in some form you say that you are experiencing limitless consciousness, or that is incorrect to say?
It is incorrect to use that. You can't experience limitlessness.
But if you are
See,
a Sakshi,
up to Sakshi you come, there are hundreds of ways of reaching the Sakshi.
correct.
Just one second, Anand. There are hundreds of ways of reaching the Sakshi in the sense that any witnessing meditation will get you there.
Right.
Then I have to learn that the Sakshi is nothing but I, the limitless consciousness. The Sakshi is only a name for the consciousness with respect to the fact I am objectifying everything. So it's a name given. It is not an entity.
Right.
Sakshi is a standpoint, a name given to the consciousness with respect to the fact I am witnessing everything. I am the consciousness. I am called Sakshi because I witness everything. What is that everything? Buddhi vritti naam Sakshi, one way of saying it. Avastha traya Sakshi, witnesser of the three states of experience. That means any experience is witnessed by me, I am not the experience.
If I can experience that Sakshi, it becomes easier to,
You don't experience the
Accept it.
Sakshi, you are the Sakshi.
yeah.
You have to see, simple thing. Even for others, watch. What is this I am holding in my hand?
A pen.
A pen. Who knows the pen? You, the mind, right?
Mind,
Your
yes.
mind thinking knows it. So in your mind there is knowledge of the pen.
Correct.
Are you aware of the fact that in the mind there is knowledge of the pen?
Yes.
Who's that?
Sakshi.
Exactly. So Sakshi always are. Only thing is, we are not aware of the fact, we are not centered on it. Therefore, we get carried away by the thoughts and things like that. We carried away by the roles. Look at it. Now I, the Sakshi, the witness, takes on a role, takes on another role, drops something, pick up something. Who's going to run that? I, the witness. But I am not witnessing anymore, I become the role. Because I am not awareful enough, I have become the role. It's always the Sakshi. So this is what most meditators try to come to the level of Sakshi. All meditation is here up to this level of Sakshi. Even including martial arts, this, that, etc. Meditation is here up to the level of Sakshi. Then that learning that Sakshi is limitless consciousness is Vedanta. That is my true nature. So that is where the whole thing has come in.
Swamiji, that is what I want to ask you. We always say that we don't experience in Vedanta. We don't validate the experiential knowledge. But if, as a Vedantic student, I know that Sakshi is limitless consciousness, which is Brahman, and if that experience is making it easier for me to embrace it.
But what experience can you have?
Experience is the fact that I'm a Sakshi.
That much you can always do. In fact, it will help.
Yes, that is what
To
I'm
be
asking.
centered, don't say so experience the Sakshi. Say to be more centered as the Sakshi.
Okay.
To be more centered on the fact you are Sakshi. Yeah. Because that's a centering.
Yes.
That we do.
Yeah. Okay.
And that centering will give you an ability to think clearly.
Yes.
All that will happen. Yes. Because you are very objective with respect to your thinking then. You can manipulate the thinking, change the thinking, do all that stuff. Yes. So, but it is very difficult to bring it into a functioning mode. Okay? Because in functioning, we are so caught up in the roles, it's very difficult for me to see the fact that I am only the Sakshi. Yeah, because we are too caught up in the roles. And to constantly keep witnessing creates a sense of dissociation also. You have to guard against that. That too much of the Sakshi Bhava can create a sense of dissociation. Then I will not be able to play the roles well. So you need to have a balance between being the Sakshi as well as playing the roles.
So every time that you feel that you're getting into a Raga Dvesha with respect to a...
No. Handle the Raga Dvesha as Karma Yoga. That's a better way of doing it, not Sakshi alone. Some things, yes, an adharmic raga can be taken care of by witnessing and all that thing. But most others has to be done by taking care of things. Okay. Now Sunita had raised a question. After that I'll come to Karthik again. Sunita Savla. Yeah.
So Swamiji, I had two questions.
Yeah.
So the question number one is, when we do Nididhyasam, so when we are reflecting on the thought that Aham Brahmasmi, it is you are trying to put it in the subconscious mind, right? Because all the habits, all the patterns come from the subconscious mind, no?
You can say that. That
So
knowledge
that
has to
also-
soak into your whole mind.
Yeah.
In fact, it has to go into your unconscious also.
Yeah, so then it becomes.
Because unconscious has ignorance in it. So that ignorance is negated first.
And then we can.
Yeah.
Okay. And another question is, when we say that this is a pen, okay, so my brain has already known, there is a neural path, there is a vritti vyapti of that pen. So most of my knowledge is punarvapti. I know it from my memory.
Yeah, correct.
Any new knowledge is very difficult, means it will happen, but all the neural pathways, usually they say 60 to 70% of the neural pathways are made when the child is born. So it is just like kind of, revision. We are living in just auto mode kind of a thing.
Correct.
So when there is this new knowledge that Aham Brahmasmi, I have never ever experienced that knowledge in so many janmas.
Correct.
Now, to get that thing which is mine, mind will play games that I know it now kind of a thing, So, abhi mere ko knowledge mil gaya, that which is not true. So, if I have no punar experience, no punar memory, no nothing, how in my meditation I will always go the samadhi way and I will always be on that path.
No, that is where we rewrite. That's exactly what we are trying to rewrite. It is something like this. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a counter example. Okay. From the beginning of the time the world was made, this cave was full of darkness. There was a rock blocking the mouth of the cave, and the cave was an eternal darkness. Right from the time the earth was born. Through all the ice ages, this, that, everything, there was darkness in this cave. Then a small earthquake happened, and the rock rolled away, and sunlight streamed into the cave. How long did it take?
Yeah, that's a fraction of a second.
So don't draw Don't draw logic from an example. Now, yes, certain neuro connections are made, but are we not rewriting them all the time? As a baby, the connections, then we are rewriting them as adults. Then, as teenagers, oh my god, teenagers, what a big mess it is. All the connections are haywire, no? Then, adulthood is rewriting to some functional basis. And is an adult, do you not have new learning all the time? Which is overwriting some of the old ones. Some of the old ones will also continue, correct? That's why, especially for this knowledge, you have to know it clearly first before you can do Nididhyasana. Otherwise, you do all the preparatory meditations. All of them you can do. Any or all. What you can work on. So that, what is that thing? You are learning to see yourself as independent from body, mind, etc. And the body, mind, etc. is dependent on you. This is what you are trying to see. All meditation and learn to quieten your mind. So you have easy ways, you have difficult ways, martial ways, all that is, but what are you trying in all of them? This much only. Then the final learning has to take place. Then that what new learning has taken place, that has to sink into your subconscious. That is where Nididhyasanam comes in. A completely... No, we don't rewrite connections in the unconscious mind, but we negate certain things in the unconscious, like ignorance, etc. Or if something is demanding your attention in the unconscious or in your subconscious which you are not aware of, and then you quieten your conscious mind in meditation, the subconscious will throw it up. Kashayam vijaniyat, and you deal with it there. So, Dr. Savla, are you clear of what I am saying? So, you have to...
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Now, 1 second. Before I answer, Ananta,
Yeah, yes, sir.
all the exercises are in the realm of mind. So, the problem is at the level of the mind. So, we are dealing with the issues at the level of the mind only. Correct? You can't go beyond the mind. The mind cannot go beyond itself. Atma need not go beyond itself. So if you are thinking of going beyond the mind or beyond the Atma, forget it. It doesn't work. Atma is already beyond the mind. It is in and through the mind also. Mind cannot go beyond the mind. But the mind can recognize what is there in and through and what is beyond. That's all that is necessary. Yeah, Karthik, you had a question. You've been hanging around.
So, Swami, just going back to the Sakshi discussion.
Hmm?
Now, Sakshi, the fact that one is Sakshi, is that purely cognitive?
No.
Because
Now, here is where the difference comes. When you play a role, the Sakshi is there, but you are not aware of it. So, first step is cognitive. Now, you can also function centered on the Sakshi. Like how now you are caught up in the role, we can center on the Sakshi and play the role. That is what requires a lot of effort and all. We need not go that much. We need not go that much. But it can be done. All warriors, etc., Vajramushti warriors, samurai, all of them did that. In battle, they were like that. It's only in movies you will see them screaming and shouting and all that stuff.
that, I would imagine requires a lot of practice, Swamiji,
Yeah.
because there's always a danger of functioning as the Sakshi or functioning as a Ahankara masquerading as the Sakshi.
Yeah,
Right? There's a
that
very-
Ahankara masquerading will always come.
Yeah.
Yeah, will always come. That is why before you go into trying to function as the Sakshi, you need to do a lot of lifestyle thing in terms of dharma dharma. Because it's easy to be adharmic as a Sakshi. It's easy to be ruthless as a Sakshi. It is easy to lose your sensitivity as a Sakshi. Now, if you are not backing up the Sakshi exercises with other exercises, you will be very, very slow in your function. Sakshi will know. Swamiji, what do you think of this? Okay. This sounds nice, Mahatma Giri. Okay. So some people do it as a Mahatma Giri. Some people do it because too much of that Sakshi practice. So if along with that you are not doing practices to speed up your function, if you have done both, then as a Sakshi you will function with such speed and efficiency. Like I was having a discussion today afternoon with someone that come with some 20 points written down. So I had one glance at that. I mean, we had some discussion, pre-discussion. I knew that what was going on. I said, all this that you look at in this light of one statement, and I made one statement. There's nothing to discuss then. I said, yeah. There's something to understand. In the 20 points, there is something to understand that this is one core issue. If you understand that, everything is taken care of. If you don't understand that, all the 20 points we'll discuss. But we'll be talking piecemeal. So look at it. If your thinking is fast and the Sakshi Bhava is to an extent there. For me, Sakshi Bhava is not complete, okay? I am not trained up to that. Once upon a time I had that, but now not up to that warrior level, etc. So it's limited. Okay. I'm doing some work on it just for the fun of it. Not necessary, but okay. So if you do this both, then, but the problem is sometimes in a discussion you have to hold back. Otherwise people feel, yaar, kuch baat hi nahi ho gaya. I came prepared with all this, nothing happened. They can feel left high and dry, you know. He doesn't understand us here. No empathy. I understand too well, that's the problem. So to show some emotional empathy and things like that, and then come to that.
And so, Swamiji, just to follow up on that, to take it to completion, as far as sadhana goes, we stick to Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga for, and
that's
the
enough.
Sakshi aspect of it leading all the way to Chaitanya is purely cognitive for Vedanta.
Yeah, for Vedanta, cognitive level is fine.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Ananta, you have been waiting for a long time.
Pranam Swamiji.
Pranam.
I just had a follow-up question regarding the Niditasanam you were describing, with the pen and everything. And when we take up certain words, and if you're going into, instead of being in that knowing, you're going into inquiry, does that mean that Mananam is not enough for...
You need to do a bit more Mananam so that your mind can be comfortable with the knowledge.
So
sometimes it can be an in-between state. What do I mean in-between state? You take a word, sit down with a cup of tea or whatever, take a word and play with that in your mind. So some sort of, it will be predominantly Mananam, but there will be some aspect of Nididhyasanam also coming in because you are immersed in that knowledge. So that immersiveness will come in, which will help sink into your heart. So that also can be done.
Is it also valid that some words or some things you may be able to sink into it, but some may not. So in some areas,
So it's what happens is all words will not mean the same to everyone. There will always be some few favorite ones. So stick to the favorite. It's fine. Stick to what works for you.
Does that mean it means the knowledge is incomplete?
No. It only means that you are more comfortable with this word, with this aspect, rather than any other word. This word helps you understand the truth better than any another word. That's all. So that's okay.
Still valid.
Yeah.
And the question.
Like one student I have rather, is too caught up in things. So that being asangaha, untouched, etc., works very well for her. So each one relates to each one. Yeah.
Actually, that's the word that I can't relate to that much.
Exactly. I suspected that. That's why I picked up that word. Plus the fact that person loves that word asanga. Yeah.
So I've been wondering why is it that word doesn't.
So for you, probably fullness, limitlessness, etc., will work better. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Pick up what works for you. It's okay.
So why is that for me?
When once you are immersed in this knowledge, all words will take care of it. All words will lead to the same thing. But immerse yourself first. So it depends on in your psyche what you can relate to.
One more question I had is Sakshi Bhava same as what the Buddhists call mindfulness?
One step
or is
more.
It different?
One step more.
One step more, okay.
Yeah. One step more. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Anu.
Thank you, sir.
Not at all. Yes, Anu.
Thank you, Swamiji, for this great discussion. I had a quick follow-up. You know, say you center yourself in the knowledge, say you immerse. What I feel sometimes happens is not just in meditation, but say you're contemplating all day and you're trying to center yourself. Is that the unconscious comes up, like different things come up after a while of sort of centering yourself, and then so you have to deal with that.
Yes. Yes.
Even outside of meditation, it's not just that this
No,
only happens
you have
in meditation.
any issue that comes up has to be dealt with outside of meditation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it has to be. That's important. Meditation is not a cure-all. It's not a cure. If
Thank you, Sanjay.
quieten the conscious mind, subconscious may throw up something. If it throws up something, handle it outside the seat of meditation. At the seat of meditation, you can't handle it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, let us say, I'll give you an example. Let us say, I am meditating, sitting down, Shanto. Om Ishaya Namaha. Quieten your mind. Be Shanta. And suddenly I find some rage coming up. Not mere anger, rage. Where is that rage coming from? I am feeling angry, this, that, etc. Stay with that anger. Find out about what it is. No, it's too much. Go, get up, go punch a bag, punch a pillow, whatever. And then sit down back again and try to handle, okay, where did that whole thing come up from? What triggered it off? Sometimes the intensity may have to be taken care of before you can even get into the root cause. See, it's all a play of the mind. And in the play of the mind, a lot of games happen. Mind wants to escape from being confronted about certain things. And we are all escapists, okay? We are not used to being alone with oneself. I always say this now. When you're sitting down, doing nothing, enjoy the fact that you have time to sit down and do nothing. How many of us, tell me, in today's world have the luxury of having some time to do nothing? How many of us have that time? कुछ ना कुछ तो होता ही है ना. Now you had that time. I don't have anything to do for the next 10 15 minutes. Baito aaram se. Do we sit like that? Why? Escape is mind. Mind wants to escape. What? Yourself. If you can't put up with yourself for 15 minutes, how do you expect somebody else to put up with you for a lifetime? Honestly. That's why husband and wife, it's good for them to take breaks from each other. Okay? It works well. So this escape is mind. We'll throw up reasons, throw up things, all that thing will happen. Which we have to deal with it at that level. And learn to confront itself. Confront its own inadequacies. Confront the behavioral patterns which are problematic in relationship. Confront the blocks that you are having towards knowledge.
We need the me time.
Yeah. Vivikta Desha Sevitvam. Yaad hai? 13th chapter, one of the values. Spend some quiet time or play with a quiet place or quiet time with yourself to get to know your own things better. And examine your belief systems is important. Like one person I met said, "Look, it is my job to be the kindest mother to my child." I said, "You want to raise a brat?" Your job is to be a mother, not necessarily the kindest mother in the whole world. What are you looking for? Some trophy or something? I confronted her hard because I had to shake her out of that stuff. I mean, I know her for some time, so I can do that. I wouldn't do that with a stranger walking in. But I've known her for 20 years. Not a problem. Said, "Swamiji, what is this? You don't give a person a place to hide." I said, yeah, I've given long enough. And now it's time to bring it all out in the open. Because it's true. So some of these belief systems keep us into problems. And we think we are all fine. You don't know how many teachers of Vedanta come and talk to me about some of these one or two things which may be troubling them. Because it's true, we are all struggling and evolving and becoming better. Until a time comes when you say, I have minimum nishtha is there. Okay. Optimum nishtha is good, but minimum to hai. So that could be the ego speaking also. Therefore, how do you ensure that it is not the ego speaking? How do you ensure that? There is a sutra in the Brahma Sutras like that. Avratihi asakrat upadeshat. Based on the statement, Pavana punyena shravanam kuryat. Pavana punya means not with great punya or something like that. Punah punah. Again and again. Do shravanam. So if you are already a teacher and you can't go and do shravanam with your teacher, then do some self-study. Double check everything. So that is where the whole thing is. Until you can be like what one of my gurus in Rishikesh, Tirthaji. One lady asked me, "Swamiji, how many hours do you meditate every day?" And he says, "Beti, why are you putting this disturbance called meditation into my mind?" Yeah, until you come to do something. So this is the whole game that goes on. Remember, meditation is always for owning up the knowledge. No new knowledge takes place in meditation. It's very important to understand this. We think of meditation as some sort of self-validation, as validating the knowledge. That is not correct. It's just owning up the knowledge. I mean, there are a lot of people who will present meditation as the ultimate and you get everything in through meditation. Not true. Not true. The challenges of life also show, correct, how centered we are or how centered we are not. But always remember one thing, the centering, balance, etc. we talk about is a dynamic process when it comes to life. You know, the old example we used to give when I first started studying Vedanta. Okay, that is more than 50 years. Okay. Was that of a Tanjore doll. Have you seen the Tanjore doll? It's got a round bottom. For all this Navratri stuff, you will find it being kept in South Indian homes. And it's heavy bottomed. So, you tip it over, zoop, it will come back. And shake a few times and come back to the center. Tip it to the side, again it will come back. And center. So, how quickly you recover? It's a dynamic balance, it's not a static balance. The balance of a ship at sea, not a table on your floor. Because life is always about movement, about things. It is not static. So your balance also has to be like that, dynamic. And what is centering? The calm center of the storm. Storm of activity is happening, but you are calm within. Yeah. And in practice of these type of meditations, okay, since we are going to the topic, last time we couldn't go into all this. See, even this practice is, some people evolve some things out, some teachers have evolved something. Oh, you stand and you are centered, and if someone pushes you, you should not shake off. Partly true, but partly it also depends on how grounded you are. It is not just about centering. How grounded you are will depend upon other sets of exercises. Okay. So, which is all fine for martial arts and things like that. You don't need that for our approach. Yeah, some amount of grounding is good. What is grounding in Vedanta? Being down to earth, not being hawa mein all the time, airy fairy thinking. Oh, it's all so beautiful. It's all about love and Natakbaji. You remember a friend from the yoga festival, no? Karthik will remember. Asked him a question of moksha, and he said, it's all about love. That's all airy fairy talk, that is not being grounded. What are you grounded on? Solid. What's your thinking, feeling, etc.? That is grounding. And how high can you soar? Yeah. How high can you visualize things? How big can you think? That's how what your soaring is. How well you stand and you can't be pushed. That is for martial arts. That's not for moksha. Does it help? Everything will help. Getting married also will help. Why? If you are ready to understand one another human being, you are ready to understand anything. You are married, I don't understand anything. Good. There was this wise man who told his wife nothing. Why? Because he was a wise man. Okay, and abiding in Sakshi the same as seeing the knowledge as a spontaneous vision like a wise person? Not necessarily. You can be a Sakshi without having wisdom. I have really known some great monks as warriors. warrior monks. They don't have the wisdom yet. I've had discussions with them. Sakshi Bhava, hats off. I don't have that. The way they have. Sakshi Bhava. Wisdom Bahu Dura. They don't have that. Yeah. He is still repeating his koan for that moment of enlightenment. Like one monk I talked about, good Sakshi, everything was fine. He says, what is the koan your teacher gave you? He says, show me your mind. And I am repeating that to understand what. So I said, okay, I'll add something to it. What? Do you have a mind? He said, yeah. I put him on a nice track. Okay. He came back after a couple of years and we had a chat about things. Because sometimes you have to let people go through that, their paradigms, their experiences before they can come to Vedanta. That's okay. I know another great martial artist. If he comes to Vedanta, he'll understand like this. But his conditions of martial art is preventing him from taking this step. He thinks all those practices are going to get him there. There is a very interesting BBC serial that had created. So one person in this Wudang temple. Wudang temple is not so popular as the Shaolin temple. But Wudang temple has created some great practices and great martial artists, great philosophers, okay? Great monks. It's high in the mountains in China. It's so high that the communism didn't reach there. So remote and communism didn't reach there. If I ever go to China other than Kailasa, this is one place I'd like to see. Not necessary. I've seen it in our last lifetime, so it's okay. So, there the BBC was interviewing. And the guy said, see, I am doing such practices. If you're going to come after a couple of years, I may not be here. I may have become a god. Meaning an enlightened soul. So there is a kid watching the whole thing. He's a kid monk, okay? Initiated. Maybe 12, 13. So after that monk walked away, the interviewer turned on to him. Sonny, you heard the master. What do you have to say about that? Nah. I don't think we can get enlightened by doing all these practices. That kid had a great vairagya and objectivity to it. Because it is true. With practices, where you're going to get enlightenment. You're going to get your mind ready for that step. That's fine. So remember, the pramana always functions in Shravana. And that's the most important thing. That's primary to the whole thing. So, for the mind to be able to get that knowledge, you may have certain things necessary for it, which is summed up as sadhana chatushtaya: viveka, vairagya, shat sampatti, mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam is a commitment, one of the most important things. How committed? A discerned mumukshutvam. That means that from mumukshutvam it is moved on to jignasa. But the drive of that mumukshutvam is important. That's why mumukshutvam is mentioned, not jignasa. Then that's Shat Sampatti. It is the Shat Sampatti aspect that people struggle over. Some of them on mind mastery are gadabad bahut hota hai. Last few days I've been talking to a lot of people. Every other person seems to be on some anxiety medications. And I got the clue from one of them. So many empowerment books I've read and all, I'm a very empowered person, but I'm still anxious. I said, yeah, you're an empowered person, therefore you think you can achieve everything. You're in control of all consequences. But your logical mind also tells you that you are not in charge of everything. Therefore, every situation is an anxiety field for you. Because on one level you are recognizing you cannot control the outcome. On the other level you are empowered, you should be able to achieve it. Ideal situation. Too many self-help books. I read all of them and I master it. Master it, you get more anxious sometimes. Unless you bring in that Karma Yoga Buddhi. Acceptance. I don't call all the shots. Ishvara Ichha. Those people who have that in their life, they are not anxious. You may have to work towards reaching there. That's okay. That's why Samadhamad and Uparati comes in. Uparati is an inner quietude, lack of anxiety that you get either by following Karma Yoga or Sannyasa, whatever. Both lifestyles are given. Then another thing is people bug us. Samadhanam, forbearance, acceptance of people as they are. Situations bug you. Titiksha, learning to put up with the pinpricks of life. Including a neighbor who keeps biting like a mosquito. So, this is where the whole thing is. Too much of skepticism. A healthy dose of skepticism is good. Blind belief is not what we want. So, some Shraddha. Why Shraddha? Because when the teacher confronts you, you will be open enough to accept it and not react to it. That much Shraddha is enough, not more than that. Not more than that. You don't have to hide from your teacher. You are willing to be open. So, it is this area where most people struggle. And it is this fine tuning that helps Shravanam work in you. If Shravanam works, great. Then take care of your doubts, Mananam, etc. Own it up in Nididhyasana. Aur kya ho gaya? After that, Pavana Punyana Shravanam Kariya. Keep in touch with the whole learning. Like I have had students come and tell me, Swamiji, I can't attend the classes for some time, but I will keep in touch with all the recordings and all that thing. But I won't be attending your class. I said, okay, if that's what you want. That's what you want, you do. I'm not someone who will say, no, you have to attend. And I've seen with all of them, after a year or so, that listening to the video also goes off. It takes more commitment to do that than to attend a class. There is where the whole thing is. So that sustained, and the thing, another problem here is, it's a sustained commitment over years. What takes you 3.5 years in an ashram setup is spread over 10-12 years, no? And without the Sanskrit part. So that sustaining that so long takes time and effort. And because it is so long, one can tend to get slack at it. Think of it as running a marathon, not a 100-meter sprint. Aram se, relaxed, you'll run. Enjoy the scene and you'll run. So that is where the whole thing comes. Any other questions? Okay, then the last line in the same verse he says, Nischalam, Nischaritam Kuryat, Eki Kuryat Prayatna, Eki Kuryat. Let that mind be absorbed in the knowledge, in the self. First you bring in the knowledge into the self, into the mind, and that mind is recognizing itself Therefore, eki kuryat prayatnataha. So in nididhyasana there is some effort. Minimalistic effort is there. Very gentle effort. The effort of cognition. Not the effort in terms of doing something. You're bringing in that knowledge, that's it. Letting it take hold in your mind. Then the content of that knowledge is yourself. Where is the mind? Resolved in the self. The mind is resolved in the appreciation of this knowledge. That's why he says, eki kuryat prayatnata. You are not having a debate in your mind or a discussion in your mind about the truth. That is mananam. This is nididhyasana. If you're going on discussing, then you say, hey, better get up and sit on a chair. Have a cup of tea in your hand and discuss. Yeah, you might as well do it comfortably. But if it's happening every time, then that's becoming an escaping mind. Why? You're allowed to. When you debate and discuss something, you don't have to do anything. No? Correct? You keep on discussing. We'll keep on discussing. We'll keep on. How long? When is the resolution? No, we'll keep discussing. There's abdication of responsibility. You discuss, resolve, come to this thing and move ahead. Yeah. Otherwise, it'll be like you having a meeting to discuss something. Then it's inconclusive. So you meet again after a week to discuss something. Then you resolve. Break the pattern. Change pattern of thinking. Change pattern of the meeting. It's not working. Or do the government solution. You know what the government solution? Put it in cold storage. Hope it resolves itself. Sometimes it works, huh? Yeah, sometimes it doesn't. So this is where the whole thing comes from. Eki kuryat. Get that. So that means if the mind is endlessly thinking about it, that eki kuryam is not happening. Anando, limitlessness. Atma, Surupa. Only I exist. Everything is in me. I am independent of everything. Fine. Enough. Okay. Your mind is resolved into the self. That's it. Awake, full of this knowledge, therefore resolved into the self. No, but I remember teacher said this, I remember this thing. No, there's no more nididhyasana. Because nididhyasana doesn't have to bring in the whole jokes and the thing and everything. It's a point where you have to drop all that. Just the word and the meaning of the word. You and the meaning of the word, nothing else. And the meaning of the word is you. That has been unfolded in the class, in the learning, in Shravana. So you pick up your word that you have heard in Shravana. And that which you feel happy to relate with. Clear about this whole thing? Yeah, we are not moved forward in any verse today, but this is necessary for clarification in terms of what's happening here. Only then the knowledge can be mine. And once the knowledge is yours, you're free for anything. Or kya? It's like someone asked me, you're going to get all this wisdom, what are you going to do with the wisdom? What do you need all this wisdom for? What are you going to do with it? I said, don't worry, when I become wise enough, I will know what to do with that wisdom. उसको क्या एक्सप्लेन करेगा, कितना एक्सप्लेन करेगा? When you become wise, you'll know what to do with that wisdom. No? Clear up to now everything? I think all the doubts, this thing has been clear. Good. So next class, we'll move forward from this. Okay, good place to stop. All that, sir.